What's up, guys? Welcome back to Nightmare Talks. I'm Aaron.
I'm Chase.
And, man, we are going to spotlight a movie that traumatized me a lot when I watched it.
Traumatized a lot of people.
If it didn't traumatize you, there might be something wrong with you.
This should bother you a little bit. This movie had aspects of it that should bother you.
Now, there are two. There's the original that was made in 1977, which was very, very good. An amazing movie. And then there is the remake of The Hills Have Eyes that came along in 2006. And oh my God.
This movie's crazy.
Chase, bear with me on this episode because I'm going to have a lot to say about this movie.
Let's go, man. I like that. A lot to say usually makes for a more interesting,
Yeah, I mean, kind of how you feel like with Jeepers Creepers when you saw it as a kid that it made an impact on you. Well, this freaking movie right here, oh my God. So, for those of you that have not seen The Hills Have Eyes, it's basically a movie about a family who are driving across the country and they get stranded in the desert. I think the original story was supposed to be revolving around the White Sands in New Mexico. Even though I don't believe it was filmed there, I think that's kind of where the story was supposed to be taking place. But so what it is they get stranded out in this desert, and there is a community or clan, whatever you want to call it, of people. Clan.
I'd go clan.
Yeah. They're mutated from all the nuclear testing that the government has done in this area, and they refused to move out of this area when the government was telling people, "Hey, you guys got to go. We're using this land to test these nuclear bombs and stuff," and they refused to go. And over the years, they just mutated, and they became deformed, and just man. People that are deformed, dude, that does it for me. Like, to me, that is just creepy. Some people are scared of ghosts. You know, your thing is demons. My thing is mutated people who are just deformed, and that just creeps me out.
I think what makes this one more creepy, and given I've never met anybody in person that was from nuclear cause, like a nuclear deformity, I feel like it's totally
I've got
different.
big ears, kind of. I mean, I don't know if that's...
I mean, were you hanging out close to like radiation or something, dude?
No.
Okay, so anyway.
I don't know where that came from.
I think I've never met somebody with nuclear radiation type deformities. I feel like that in person definitely would be a little bit like, whoa, like that would be scary in its own right. And I think what makes Hills Have Eyes even more interesting is it was probably so bad to the point where, because you kind of get how that clan is mentally and thinking through logically with what they were doing, they were kind of just ravaged. Like, they didn't really have rules, they didn't have a set goal in mind. It was just do what they want when they wanted. It wasn't controlled, it wasn't thought out. So, and I think that's what makes that scary for me is, one, you got deformity, and then two, you have a clan that has no limits and no boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, basically just lawless. And, you know, there's no police officers out there.
No.
There's no... I mean, this is the middle of freaking nowhere, New Mexico.
Yeah.
And I, you know, the crazy thing about it is, too, is even though it's just a movie...
Yeah.
You know, what if there really is people out there that are mutated who... I mean, there's some stubborn people in the world who just refuse to move out of areas that they're supposed to not live in. And...
that's a crazy reality. I don't know. Like, I've never heard of anybody. But then again, I haven't went looking for it. But,
oh, you know they exist, though. You know, I mean, bro, we're from the South. We're from the South.
I don't know about nuclear, though. Like, I think
bet there is.
Say from like this, from this instance.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's not, because like we've talked about in previous videos, I haven't went looking for it, so therefore I can't say for sure it doesn't exist.
Yeah, because it's two different things. Like inbreeding, mutated is different than nuclear radiation.
Correct. And there's different deformities, but I feel like the nuclear side of this adds a whole nother dynamic and a different reality.
The guy with the big... spoiler alert, guys, the guy with the big melon head, where it's so big that he just sits in a chair and his head is back like that. Bro, I had nightmares about that dude's head for numerous nights, man.
It's so interesting. Like, I get the standpoint from this movie of it's a very disturbing movie.
Yeah,
it literally. The beginning of the movie, it starts, and then all of a sudden you get to, it's probably about not even halfway, halfway.
Not even.
And it goes 0 to 100 very quickly.
And it's like hitting a wall, dude.
It does. And automatically, before you even get halfway through the movie, you feel like you've already been through chaos.
I felt dirty.
I did too. I felt
so
disgusting.
there's a rape scene in this movie that you're just kind of like, you just did not want to be there.
No,
and
it's awkward.
It's part of the movie, and you're just kind of like, God, I hope this scene's not too long. Should I fast forward it? Like, please don't let my mom walk in here and see me watching this particular scene when she comes in there. I mean, the whole movie is just disturbing, but that freaking scene where homeboy's like bites the head off the bird and he's like drinking the blood out of the bird while his family members raping the girl, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's intense.
It is very intense. It's very in your face from the get-go. The other thing I think for me with this movie, so I watched this movie in theaters. You want to talk about awkward, because like you have a bunch of people that are just sitting there thinking they're watching just another scary movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie took it to a whole nother level of disgusting, kind of, in a way. Like, that's not the right word, because I enjoy this movie, but that scene and that whole incident was very uncomfortable and very disgusting. Like, honestly, if it doesn't bother, that's the scene I think we're talking about.
Oh, for sure.
If it doesn't bother you somehow, something is wrong with you, because it should bother you.
Yeah.
And I remember in the movie theater, to get back to what I was saying, is there were at least 3 women that ended up walking out and leaving. During that scene, they did not come back.
The fact that there was only 3 is pretty amazing.
But I'm just like, that strikes a nerve with people, to the point where you show something like that, and people that have been victim of this, like, you're hitting a nerve. Like, that bothers people extremely, especially if you're a victim of that. Like,
well, if that was your goal, you're effective in your goal. I mean,
I guess
the director of this movie definitely did not hold back.
No.
He just was kind of like, screw it, envelope all the way forward. We're going with it, and dang, it's just such a crazy movie. Like, when people talk to me about horror movies, and once again, I've seen a lot of horror movies. Anybody that knows me knows that that's been my thing. I've seen a few.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite things to do, honestly. Like, people will be like, hey, what do you want for your birthday? I'll be like, look, I just want to stay home by myself, turn off all the lights, and I want to watch scary movies all night by myself in the dark. Order some Chinese food, whatever. That's my thing. Maybe it's weird, maybe it's not, but that's what I enjoy doing. I like being scared.
About you until just now. Like, literally, that's a new reality for me. I did not realize that an ideal day in Aaron's life is to be at home by himself, lights off, scary movies, Chinese food.
Well, when you put it that way, it makes it sound a little weird, but
nope, it's planted in my mind that Aaron's ideal day.
I love it, bro. I like being scared. Man, there's some people that are like, you're crazy, dude. Maybe a little.
I don't like to be by myself.
You can come over and watch them with me, man. We'll turn off the lights.
I don't want to be a pansy. That's even more weird. Anyway, not to sound like a pansy, but like, I don't want to be by myself scared. Like, if something actually gets to me where it scares me, and it actually like legit, I'm scared. I don't want to be by myself, dude.
Who do you want to be with?
Just not by myself.
It's a movie, though.
But I don't want to be.
It's just a movie.
I guess in the dark. I'm probably gonna turn some lights on, probably.
I mean, I would not watch this movie in the dark by myself in New Mexico in the middle of the desert.
I wouldn't watch it in a camper.
Definitely not in a camper. I wouldn't watch it with my mom either. Remember the scene we were just talking about?
I wouldn't watch it with my...
I don't think my mom would watch this movie.
My wife, I don't know that she has watched this movie, but I wouldn't even want to watch this with her.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, that scene is disgusting.
Yeah. Like I was going to say earlier, is when people talk to me about horror movies, man, this one always comes up in my mind.
It is. It's a very...
people are like, oh, The Exorcist, Poltergeist.
Yep.
The newer ones, Conjuring, Insidious.
Poltergeist is a great movie. Anyway,
oh, it's very good.
Important.
Very
Poltergeist
good.
is a great movie.
This freaking movie, though, my goodness.
This
So once again, guys, if you have not seen The Hills Have Eyes, do yourself a favor. Turn off all the lights, have everybody leave the house, and watch Chinese food. Pizza, whatever.
No, Chinese food.
Thai food.
Here.
Chinese food. And watch this freaking movie.
But just be warned, because we told you, there's a disgusting scene, it's a rape scene, you were warned.
And that's only one scene, guys. That's only one scene.
It does bother some people, you have to tell them.
Dude, the guy that gets, burns to death.
It's crazy. I know, dude, this movie... it went off the rails. You go, like I said earlier, it goes 0 to 100. It does not. It doesn't shift gears. You don't slowly get there. No, you go from nothing to, oh my God, what is happening?
I need to see who directed this movie because we really got to give him props. Director, oh Lord, of course it's a name that's going to be hard to pronounce. Andre Aja. It's AJA. I'm going to say Andre Aja.
Andre, you freaking killed it, dude. You definitely
got it. You got it.
You swung for the fence and you got there.
Yeah.
Because I think if you were trying to strike nerves with people and you were trying to get that psychological scare, I think you did that for a lot of people.
I mean, you knocked it out of the park, across the street, and hit the old lady on the head that was walking, her dog.
That's not an old lady. That was Grandpappy.
Grandpappy needs to be hit on the top of the head. Okay, so, man, once again, check out this movie, guys. Let us know what you thought. Man, we really, we should be getting a lot of comments on this one from you guys because anybody that has seen this movie is going to have something to say about this movie because it really does leave an everlasting impression. It did me on you where you're just emotional wreck at the end of this freaking movie.
I feel like you just have a different feel from you. Like it provides this, and we say dirty, but like it's a feeling of just like, ugh, like just kind of disgust. Like
it's like snuff porn, man. It was like.
But you know what makes it worse is like, so I've watched this movie 4 times on hand that I can recall, and the first time was not near as bad as knowing what's going to happen and then you watched it again. That's what's even more like, it bothered me more as I went and watched it.
Maybe you were so shocked at the first time that you were just kind of like.
I was. It was one of those moments where so imagine something terrible, and it was terrible. Something terrible happens for real in real life, not just within a film.
Yeah.
And literally that shock factor of, what the hell is happening? That's how this movie kind of was in the sense like, dude, the only comparison I know is 0 to 100. Like, this movie real quick.
What creeps me out the most, man, is like, does this stuff happen in real life? Every episode I know I say that, like, oh, this could happen in real life, but bro, this could happen in real life. Like,
I don't know anybody that goes out. Okay.
Well, actually, before I get sidetracked.
Yep.
I've heard from very reliable sources that.
Your mom?
Well, not my mom.
Okay, fair enough. Shout out to his mom, by the way.
Shout out to
You're
mom.
amazing.
That outside of Flagstaff, Arizona, there is a community of people who do not want to interact with society per se. Like they're basically outcasts, and what they do is they just kind of find a little spot in this area.
Are they deformed?
Possibly. I've never been out there, but
oh, okay. So they've never been like.
But it's an agreement. Okay. Like they actually have an agreement with law enforcement in Flagstaff in that area to where they just are left alone. And a lot of them are veterans, who might have psychological issues. Most of them are probably just criminals hiding out from the cops, and they just, they feel safe out there. And there could be people out there that are mutated and just something really, really wrong with them. And from what I understand, if they get a call of gunshots out there, or they get a call that somebody was murdered, they just they don't disregard it, but at the same time they don't get too involved because it's kind of an agreement that they have that these people out here are going to do their thing, and people in Flagstaff are going to do their thing.
That's crazy.
And this, like I said, this is a very reliable source of somebody who has actually been there and actually knows of this community. And so my thing is if in my life I know somebody who's actually been to a place like that, then there's got to be tons of places like that all over the world. Yeah. I mean, if you know anything about the Bean family in Scotland, they were the ones that lived in the cave, and they would basically get. I know a lot of weird stuff about a lot of weird stuff, but
this is very weird.
Yeah, but they were.
I feel like I've heard of this one though.
I forget his first name. It was something Bean, but it was a family, a whole family that were inbred, and they were mutated, and they would basically capture people and people, whether they were hiking, and they would take them into this cave that they lived in, and there was a big group of them that lived in this cave, and they would eat them. They were cannibals, and so that is a true story. Sonny Bean, I want to say his name is Sonny Bean. Sawny. I don't know what that. That could be the name.
Cannibal.
But yeah, look it up if that's something that you're interested in, intrigued by. Look it up. He was the real family of cannibals that lived in Scotland back in the day, and so it makes you just wonder how many of these places are
It
there.
could be real. Like I said, dude, I've never went looking for it. I've never really looked into it.
For the record, we will not be going and doing experiences in communities like that.
Heck no, and we will not. I mean,
We're not even getting paid for this, so
honestly, yeah, we make no money off this. This is simply just for our fun, our enjoyment, and to talk about things horror related and just whatever. But this is one of those where this movie is intense. That's the only way I know to explain it. It's intense.
Yeah.
If you can finish the movie, if you're able to watch the movie, definitely let us know what you think.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of people. I feel like there's enough people out there that probably don't like this movie, though. I feel like this is.
But you have to appreciate it, man. You gotta appreciate this movie for what it is, dude.
But some people don't like that. Some people don't like things that strike a nerve like that. Some, like, legit, there's a lot of people, and maybe some of our followers, that they're not gonna care for it. We respect your opinion on whatever it is, and we get it. This is probably not everybody's top favorite film. This is not, your number one. But, Aaron, this movie struck a nerve with
Not
him.
favorite, though. Not favorite.
Not favorite, but struck a nerve pretty hard, obviously. And if you've watched the movie, it should bother you.
It should. And once again, if it doesn't, then there might be other things. Other things that should be
go
addressed.
see somebody. Go talk to somebody because something's wrong. For sure.
Yeah. Go to church.
Twice.
Twice.
So definitely let us know what you think.
And we are going to touch on something. This episode might be a little bit longer than some of the other episodes you have, because we got two things that we really are pretty passionate about. I know I am. Hills Have Eyes, obviously, number one. And number two, Chase?
So we're going to talk about, today, to add another segment to this show, we're going to talk about chasing haunted places. Play on words. Anyway, so Suicide Forest.
I'm not even going to try to say the name of the real name of it in Japanese, because it will offend somebody.
You know what we're talking about. Look it up if you don't know. Suicide Forest, it'll come up, the name.
Yeah.
Shout out to that place. Anyway, it's in Japan.
The base of Mount Fuji.
Fuji, yes.
Which is a very famous mountain.
It really is.
Japan.
And they have great water.
That's Fiji.
I know, I was messing with you. So, all right, let me bring this up. So we were just I was looking around, I was trying to get some just facts about the place itself, being that Aaron and myself have never been. Yet. I'd love to go. Anyway, so it's one of the most popular suicide destinations in the world. So the average is about 100 people per year that go out there to kill themselves.
That actually seems kind of low. Like, I figured it would have been higher than that.
But you got to think.
100 people is still a lot of people.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, if you think 100 people, like, the population, that's a lot, dude. Depression is already an issue within Japan.
But it says 100 successful. So...
Well, and that's the other thing. So it talks about people that carry tents. There's signs of doubt. Like, they're not sure. Do they want to do this or not? Which to me, like, I don't know, man. Like, if I went out there, I would be scared to go off the trail too. That'd be another thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to find a suicide person.
Well, what are you doing in Suicide Forest if you don't want to find a body?
Hold on. No, because if we went out there, I'd not be going looking for a body. If we found a body, that's a different circumstance altogether. But I would only go out there to simply explore Suicide Forest itself. That is it. I'm not looking to go off the trail. I'm not looking to go off-roading, because it says usually people that do end up going off the trail and don't stick to the path end up finding something that they did not intend on finding. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to find something I didn't want to find. Now, if it happens, I'm walking the trail and I find it, we'll go through that as it happens, but not going out there looking for it.
And I know there's signs out there too, where signs everywhere saying, think of your families, basically trying to convince people. They give them like a hotline number to call, like, hey, don't do it, think twice, turn around and go home. I've watched a lot of documentaries and read a lot of articles on this particular forest, and they just find like tents that are stranded. People had gone there, and the crazy thing is too, And if you think about the psychology behind this, where people will go out there and literally go camping for days and days and days before they actually kill themselves. It's like they have to go out there and they have to decide whether they want to do that or not. So that's pretty crazy to me how, you know, it's one thing to just say, I don't want to live anymore, and boom, shoot yourself in the head, or, you know, take some pills and overdose. But it's a whole nother thing to ponder it for 2 or 3 days before you actually do it.
Well, and I feel like it's just so hard. Like you would think maybe like the wildlife people that preserve that area would have like a rule, but it's how do you govern an area that's so big, so vast, and so like there's so much depth to it. Like it would be hard to track who's went in and out of this forest. Like
yeah, and that makes me think of an article that I read. Like, you know who I really feel sorry for is the people that have to go in there and pull all those bodies out, because I heard that they actually closed the whole entire. It's a national forest. Like
it is, yeah. No,
this isn't just a group of trees.
Yep.
It's like this is an actual
huge.
and they have to shut the whole place down for X amount of time to go in and you know, obviously government officials go in there and have to pull these bodies out of there and basically start all over and be like, okay, we got the 100 successful suicides for this year. Let's restart the clock. So that's pretty crazy. Like
So I guess, and it was something I was reading up on earlier before we started the segment. So there was a novel that actually made, they call it the Sea of Trees, a popular forest, an ideal spot to go commit suicide if you know you're having that spot or that idea of committing suicide, which I guess he actually dubbed the perfect place to die. The book was written back in 1960. I do not know how to say his name. I'm sorry. I'm not going to.
Come on, attempt it.
No, nope, not gonna try. But you know, so that's interesting. I didn't know that going into this. Like, I did not realize. Like, I mean, for people that have heard about the suicide forest, whether it was through like movies, articles, whatever, that's a crazy reality. And I guess the other part they were saying is they do searches, or they do conduct searches. Since 1970, they do annual searches through the forest, like you were talking about earlier. They've been doing that for that many years, dude, since 1970.
Yeah, so this isn't something that like just
it's not.
popped up one day and people were like, hey, this seems like a good place to kill myself.
Yep. So, and I guess the searches, early 2000s, 70 to 100 were uncovered each year.
Wow.
When they do these annual searches. So that is a crazy reality. Can you imagine being a part of that team? Like, and I feel like you have to know what you're getting into. Like,
yeah.
Okay, cool. We're gonna go do, you know, the Sea of Trees. We're gonna go do the sweep and see what's in here.
Yeah, you're gonna find a dead body.
You're gonna find it.
You're gonna find
dead bodies.
Possibly 100.
Yeah. So 70 to 100. I cannot imagine pulling out 70 to 100 dead bodies.
Wow. You know, and they were saying too that Japan has the highest rate of suicides in the world, and I know a lot of Japanese people. They always seem so very happy. They're so nice. I love Japanese people, for the record. I love them. I work in the hospitality industry here in Las Vegas, and I deal with a lot of people from all over the world. And let me tell you, Japanese people are at the top. I love them. They are so polite. They are so patient. They are so nice. And so that's really shocking to me that Japan has the highest suicide rate in the whole entire world. So you think about people who live in, I'm sorry, but I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but people who live in like Siberia, up in the middle of nowhere, or
Dude, Alaska, I mean, I feel like Alaska would be one of those spots too.
I always thought Alaska had a lot.
So you're secluded, but you're not. Like, I feel like you're away from everything. You're kind of not. But I feel like those places that are isolated like that. But you think about Japan, like,
it's so beautiful.
You have
there.
so many options. You have great. I mean, freaking forest. You have all these different things. Mount Fuji, man.
Beautiful. Like, what do they call them? Cherry blossom trees. The pink trees. Like, I want to go to Japan so bad.
It'd be a great trip, man.
I want to see all the little like pagodas
and like you were saying, how they're the highest suicide rate. 2,645 record suicides in January of 2009.
Whoa! Just that 1 year?
So that's not saying that's not within the suicide force itself.
Oh, just Japan.
That is simply just saying Japan itself.
That's still a lot.
If you think about Japan, like, it's not very big. when you have 2,645 people that committed suicide, like that's a lot, dude.
That is a lot, man.
I mean, smile, everybody. Be happy.
I wonder.
Come on.
I wonder what it is in Japan that makes it people feel like it's that so bad.
So it also talks about how I guess the forest itself, going back to that, it talks about how it's kind of got an eerie feel to it. Like it kind of has that vibe of like
it's very gloomy.
Death.
Yeah.
I'll say
Suicide
like,
Forest.
Kind of has that vibe. But the name's not known for like Suicide Forest. They got that nickname after the suicides started to happen. It's got
well, they can't call it Happy Forest. I mean, you're walking with your kids.
The name, if I could pronounce it,
I'm gonna try it.
It means sea of trees.
Where is it at? You know what? I'm gonna do it for our fans. Aokigara.
Yep. That.
Yeah, if I offended you guys, I'm sorry, but I feel like we have to attempt it.
I mean, I'm proud of you. Good job.
Yeah, I'm a team player. I'm a team player.
Everybody else is happy that you did it too. Right, guys? Right. But yeah, Suicide Forest, man. I would definitely go. I have my boundaries to what I would not do, and I would not be there after dark.
Speaking of which, I watched, I shout out to Josh Gates. Josh Gates had a couple of amazing shows. I think he still has shows on. Josh Gates, he's the one that does Destination Truth.
Okay. Yep.
And now he does Expedition Unknown. They actually had some really good footage in Suicide Forest of a ghost. I mean, can't really think of another word to call it, where it literally like comes out of the ground, and it's pretty clear, dude. It comes, it manifests, and then it goes back into the ground. They catch it on film. I love that show. Josh Gates, bring that show back. It was so amazing. Like, that would be my dream job. Like, he actually had a team of people that would go to these different places all over the world, and they would do these investigations. They'd go to the Philippines, and they would do investigations on the Aswang. They would do, they would do Bigfoot. They would do all kinds of stuff. But it was so cool because well, number one, you get to travel all over the world, and they wouldn't just be like, okay, we're here in Peru, we're going straight to this haunted house.
Right.
They would do cool stuff along the way. They would try different foods. They would get involved in the cultures and stuff. And that show was amazing. That was probably one of my favorite shows on TV of all time. It's so good. If you guys haven't checked out Destination Truth, Josh Gates he's such a funny guy. Like I said, I love watching him. His personality is great, but they had a lot of really good stuff that they caught on film in that particular show. So once again, shout out to Josh Gates and Destination Truth. And even Expedition Unknown is cool. It's not so much creepy. It's not on the horror part. Yeah. But still, he goes some really cool places.
Mysterious things.
Yeah, for sure.
That's crazy, man.
It's a crazy world we live in, guys.
It is. There's some weird phenomenons that happen.
Yeah, I remember when people would commit suicide there at the Stratosphere, the Strat. People would literally like go all the way up to the very top tower of Stratosphere and jump.
I know, dude.
And I remember I was working at the front desk at the time. It sounded like a freaking bomb when this guy hit the ground.
Dude, that's crazy. You worked at the Strat?
Oh yeah, I worked at the Stratosphere for years and years.
Crazy.
And I remember I was one of the first ones. So I was working at the front desk at the time, and so behind the front desk there's an office, obviously, where they answer phones and stuff. And then right by that office there's a door that would lead outside. And this particular person that landed right in the street right there. Damn. And the whole, I remember my computer shaking, and I'm like, oh my God. And September 11th had happened, I don't know, 5 or 6 years before that. So of course the first thing that pops in your head is like, oh shoot, is this another freaking terrorist attack, right?
Yeah.
And so I go to this door, and I open the door, and one of my coworkers was behind me. And if it hadn't have been for the clothing, you would not have known what this was.
That's crazy.
It was like jelly. There was a lady, and this is probably, this is information that you don't hear about on the news, guys.
This is the story you don't get.
Yeah, so these hotels and these places, they pay a lot of money to keep that stuff out of the news because it's negative. It's you don't, I mean, what are you going to put that on your website? Like, great place to commit suicide. Come stay at the Strat. But it was like, there was a lady, I distinctly remember a lady sitting across Las Vegas Boulevard at a bus stop, and she was covered in blood. Oh. This person had literally imploded and splattered that far. And the girl that peeked out the door that was behind me, like, was traumatized, and they had to bring in like this psychiatrist to like speak to people who were, you know, traumatized by this. And I'm trying to keep people like, don't come out here. And crazy. They had another one that actually landed in, you ever looked on top of the roofs of these giant casinos and hotels that have those giant fans?
Yep.
Yeah, this lady like landed in that in the middle of summer, and it just chopped her into, man, I'm sorry if this conversation kind of got morbid, but I mean, this is real life stuff, guys. This is stuff that happens that, once again, you don't really hear about on the news, and you don't read about it in the paper, but
I don't know why people aren't willing to talk about the disturbing stuff. Like, I get it. It's disturbing. It's not a comfortable conversation, but like, these are experiences that happen to people, like it or don't, or, you know, you find it like it's a little too far, it's too much. That's fine.
It is what it is, though.
It is what it is. Like, this is, I mean, real life experience, man.
I mean, people talk about the weather. They talk about their car breaking down. They talk about their job. Well, why can't we talk about stuff that actually really happens?
Yeah, that's nuts, man.
And once again, this is what our channel is about.
Yeah, 100%.
We talk about everything, and there, you know, there's going to be people that might tune out and be like, I don't really want to hear about, you know, people committing suicide. But you know, some of those people might be like, this is actually interesting.
I mean, it's a real
thing.
problem. Like, this is not just you know, USA problem. This is not just like, this is everywhere, man. Like, suicide is a very
real thing,
dark conversation people don't want to talk about, and I think that's been the problem throughout the years, is it hasn't been talked about. There hasn't been a fix because nobody wants to talk about it. Yeah, they're like, oh no, we don't need to talk about that. Like, you know, that's, you know, you don't.
I feel like that's one of those things that they should really put more emphasis on. It's
getting better. It is getting better. There is a lot of programs out there.
Did you know Mick Foley, the wrestler, Mankind, Mick Foley, he for a long time he volunteered and actually like did a hotline for people to call him after he retired from wrestling and stuff. So shout out to Mick Foley for that, because you know, a lot of these guys, he could do whatever he wants, but to choose to try to help people in that aspect. It's pretty awesome.
Suicide's it's an unfortunate thing,
especially with military too, huh?
It is bad. So it's pretty rough. I've had
veterans, and
unfortunately within my time that I've been in, I've had at least 5 people I can think offhand that I've worked hand in hand with that have committed suicide. So it's a real problem.
That is a problem.
Real issue. And the majority of the time, you don't even know that they're thinking about it. You don't know that they're considering it. Not to take this to a depressing place, but like, it is an issue. You know, it's one of those things where, like it or don't, this is real life. It happens. You can't ignore it just because it's something you don't like to hear about.
And we're gonna touch on a lot of stuff like that.
It's gonna get dark. I mean, it's kind of like Hills Have Eyes. It's very intense. It's very, you know, unfortunate events. Given that's just a movie, but
it's just really unfortunate that today's society is just so focused on like not saying something that might hurt somebody's feelings, you know, being so politically correct and make sure like, oh, don't just assume that that's a male or that's a female, even though they clearly have a giant beard. But yet we can't spend a little more attention on getting help for veterans who literally like put their life on the line for this country.
There's better programs out there. So here's the thing. So my opinion, not saying that this is the right, there can be all the programs in the world that you can have, the hotline that's 24/7. There's all these different avenues that people can take to get help, to, you know, seek medical attention as needed. And the reality is it still doesn't fix the problem, because at the end of the day, it's not so much that there's not options out there, it's that the person at home by themselves, that's where you don't catch them. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to stop somebody that if it's already in their head they're going to do it, they're not going to make it obvious that they're going to do it. It's going to happen through like they'll go home, they'll do their normal routine, and you'll never know the difference because they'll hide it very well. You wouldn't know even by seeing them.
And even if you were successful enough to say pull somebody off a bridge and be like, hey, think of your family, think of your wife and your kids. Who's to say they're not going to go back out there the next day and just do it again?
It's true.
It is a real problem, man.
It is.
If you think about how many people possibly committed suicide during the whole COVID thing with the quarantine, a lot of people
needs human interaction. Like, everybody needs to be able to interact with other people. I think that's probably one of the scarier parts of COVID. I mean, if you don't have a family, if you're by yourself, that's
how horrible was that for a freaking year?
Terrible.
For a freaking year, over a year.
That's hard. So definitely, if you're a follower that has this issue, please get help. Talk to somebody. I'm not saying talk to us. We're by no means. Maybe.
Hey, you can call me anytime.
You can call me. I will talk to you. I will talk your ear off. But get help. Think of your family. Think of people that do care. Don't go down that road of one you can't come back from, for sure. So
What do they say? They say that's the one unforgivable sin is suicide, because you can't.
There's no going back.
You can't get forgiveness for that.
No,
so
it's a hard one. So anyway.
Wow, this episode.
Dark. God.
Yeah, this is a
Really
very
sorry, guys.
serious episode.
Maybe we should tell a joke.
But you know what? I mean,
tell a joke.
Tell a joke.
Go, tell your best joke. Go.
Man, I don't really have a joke that's appropriate. I mean, I can sit here and tell jokes all freaking day.
Never mind, Aaron. You're fired. Don't tell a joke. That's awful.
Yeah.
You got nothing. You really don't got one. Not one that's appropriate for this.
Is that bad?
That makes it even better that you don't have a joke.
That's pretty bad. I'm trying to think of a little kid joke,
Dude, you got two boys. How is it we can't get a joke here?
Okay, so what do gay horses eat? Hey.
I didn't even know the answer. That's awful.
That's all I got, man. I thought I cleaned it up pretty well.
So
It is Pride Month.
Shout out Pride Month.
There you go.
Killing it, guys. Awesome.
There you go. I contribute to society. That's what I do.
We're so proud.
That's what I do.
Honestly, you are just changing the world.
Glad I could be a part of that.
One joke at a time. Okay.
Thank God it's only one.
Jesus Christ. So, share this video. Like us. Share us with your friends.
Don't like us. I don't know.
Honestly, no. Please like us.
Yeah, please. We need
please
you to
like us.
like us.
Preferred like. Today got a little real with our conversation.
We did.
The movie itself is pretty intense too. So
nothing to do with suicide.
Nothing to do with suicide, but absolutely, we appreciate the follows. We appreciate the support. We appreciate you guys that watch this, listen to it, whatever it is you do. You don't have to watch, just listen to us.
But sometimes, guys, we are going to do that. Sometimes we are going to touch on things that should be taken seriously.
100%.
Suicide should definitely be taken seriously.
Yes.
Don't be so quick to look down on homeless people and people who just. A lot of those guys are literally veterans, bro. You're in the military.
So, shout out to. There's a thing called Veteran Stand Down. It's a program that happens across the U.S. It is a great program. I volunteered on at least 6 occasions. I try to volunteer every year.
Good for you.
It is literally a thing where they allow homeless vets to come. It's usually at the convention center, and they have all these different resources. So they have glasses for people that can't see. They have clothes to give out to these guys. They feed them, haircut, shower. They do job interviews for these guys, like certain companies that'll hire some of the homeless people to get them back on their feet.
It's good stuff.
They have rehabilitation homes where they can go stay a couple of nights. Mm-hmm. There's all these different avenues that they offer. This program is real. It's a great program. And I want to say they help at least thousands of homeless people a year when it's kicked off. Great program. Highly recommend looking it up if you ever want to volunteer and do these things. I have heard some great stories from these homeless vets, and honestly, to me, what kind of society do we live in when our veterans are homeless?
Right.
What kind of world have we become where...
That's discouraging.
And I'm not even speaking, I'm not saying that on my behalf, but I'm just saying the people that have served before me, what kind of society are we where homeless veterans are sleeping on the street, worrying about food, worrying about if, in this desert heat, if they're gonna, stay cool, hydrated. That's not a world I want to live in.
Preach it, man. Preach it.
That to me just doesn't make sense. Anyway,
Well, once again, you know,
Let's close out this segment, man. We
yeah,
are just-
but at the same time, I like the fact that we're touching on things.
No,
that are-
it is important. So all these things are important.
yeah,
It matters. It's something that needs to be talked about. But
for sure, and it needs to be taken seriously.
it does. But on a lighthearted note,
I'm not telling another joke.
no, I don't want you to. That was a terrible joke. Anyway, you guys are awesome. Please continue to support us. I know we go off the deep end sometimes. Aaron has rants, and there's just tons of things we talk about, and we don't shut up. Sorry, but you guys matter, and we're here for you guys. So, with that being said, I'm Chase.
I'm Aaron, and we will see you guys soon.
Have a good one, guys.
Check out Hills Have Eyes.
Comment.
Thanks again. Subscribe, like, and share.
All right, guys.
Appreciate
Have
you.
a good one.